one question, just like
the campus of UMass Boston. It's a big game. The battle for first place, two undefeated in-conference teams, the UMass Boston Beacons and Keene State. Hi, everybody. So glad Seth Orensky, Bill Spalding. Well, you have two teams that are looking for home court advantage if they eventually meet in a Little East Conference tournament, both in conference play, so a big test for the Beacon.
Well, you have the number one offensive team in the conference. Keene State's Rachel Lamica leads in all the major categories. They also have Bailey Wilson, who's number one in assists, versus some of the best defensive players in the conference. Look at Sarah Doyle, number one in blocks, and Michaela Kianko, 1 or 2 in both digs and digs percent. It's going to really come down to that battle. The Beacons are going to have to limit the combo of Wilson and Lamica and hope that their offense can have a consistent match. It's not about a good match, it's being consistent through 3, 4, or possibly 5 sets.
It should be a lot of fun and a big after this on the Beacons broadcast.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
All right, back here at the Clark Athletic Center, getting set for UMass Boston and Keene State. It's senior day here at the Clark Athletic Center, last home game, at least in the regular season for the Beacons. So with that in mind, the two are players to watch, Michaela Kianko and Alex Gibbs.
Yeah, and you look at these two players, and there's players who have had to step up as seniors. Elizabeth has been a 4-year All-American. Well, that was going to really cut into the playing time of any player. And you look at Michaela Kianko, she stepped into the role and has been phenomenal. One of the 2 walk-ons over the past 8 years who have made an impact on this program. And then Alex Gibbs, another player, an outside hitter who had to play behind an all-region player last year in Colleen Cohen and an All-American in Eileen Shi. She's really stepped up, especially recently, a 2-year captain, who's one of those players who always keeps the locker room loose and happy. Good player to have, even if the stats haven't always been there.
So 28th beaten against Keene State since 2008.
And these two teams have in numerous finals, couple throughout the last 10 years. I'd say it's been UMass Boston and Keene State's the one other team. Beacons State, Eastern Connecticut State in big matches, but it's been Keene State this year in the background trying to take the Beacons off their pedestal.
Of course, that confidence in this conference. This might be the biggest test teams for conference play. Part of the reason the Beacons are at 4-0 is a win against Plymouth State a week ago Wednesday. Look at the highlights from that Beacon conference win.
Move your camera up. You don't have to press record. Oil and a nice dig from Hallen to keep it alive. Players score another soft swing. Hasn't got a ton behind either. Alex Gibbs down the line, and she knock it back from whence it came to the near side for score. More behind this swing, but still hasn't shown a powerful swing yet. And it's Eileen Shi this time for Bowers. And Plymouth State sends one deep. That one might have been going long. Gibbs elected to play it. What a swing from Eileen Shi. We're down 7-5 with 16-10. Here's one of the Maslak serves as she forces Farouch to float it back across, waiting for a defense to set up. Chepievska, Farouch with another dig, right at the net, tipped across. Gibbs is there, Maslak for Chepievska, second time, and Farouch will get her hand on it, but unable to set the hands of Shi. Elliott looking for Doyle once again, a laser. Just blocking the net by Schaefer. Bailey out wide. Kept alive by Elliott. Maslak will now serve as the setter, and she just barely catches the line. She did one twice. Kianko pops it up for Maslak, looking for Chepievska down the line, and she catches the back corner. Coast Guard and Babson, all pretty good teams here in New England. It's close to deep. Farouch calling for it. Bailey near side, and scorer is blocked once again. The Owls sit at 17-3, a phenomenal start to the year. They started at 15-0. Facefuls in this one. Race 4 pops it across for Gibbs. Depievska catches the hand of a Plymouth State player, and Millie on the over. It finds Kiyanko. Doyle able to crush another one early on in this set. Ball is tapped up there by Linden. She able to block it down. The Beacons Boston. As Kiyanko, what a fortunate bounce that was. 2-0 in the match. Farouk goes deep. Kiyanko for Elliott, looking for Gibbs through the middle. And we've got a whistle, and it's going to go against the Panthers.
Back at the Clark Athletic Center, getting set for action between UMass Boston and Keene State. The Owls 19-3 this season. They got off to a 15-0 start. Let's take a look at the statistics for both of these teams. Keene State has hit it so well this year, 229, led by Rachel Lamika's 304 hitting percentage. For the Beacons, that hitting percentage is the sign of inconsistency. There are some games where the Beacons hit it really well, some games where they've struggled, and that's why they're sitting at the 178 hitting percentage so far. Seth, you mentioned the defense, and for the Beacons, averaging almost 2 blocks per set, the defense will be really key against this great Keene State offense.
Yeah, and you're looking at the top blocking team versus the second blocking team, but that's where the Beacons have really made a living, especially in conference play over the last 5 to 10 years. The Beacons had the top blocker in the conference last year in Julia Murphy. Sarah Doyle is a similar type of player who's taking a big step forward as a sophomore. She's not going to come up with 10, 12, 15 kills a match, but she can make a big impact on the block and adjusting the shots, altering the shots on the opposing side.
You'll see Sarah Doyle's name on our team leaders as she leads the Beacons with 72 blocks this season. You see Rachel Lamika, 349 kills, and doing it consistently. It's not taking her 1,000 swings. She's hitting 304 on the season.
Yeah, and that's tops amongst all qualifiers. But Bailey Wilson, you see at 318, and typically, I can tell you, I'm the person who puts the stats up there. Typically, I wouldn't include a setter who is hitting 318, but she's doing it in a lot of attempts. 198. That tells you something. That means the Beacons are going to have to adjust their defense. I talked to the Beacons assistant coach Kirsten Morrison. It's going to be up to Michaela Kiyanko. She's got to cheat just a little bit closer to that 3-meter line to try to limit the effectiveness of Wilson, a player who's had tremendous success because of her height. It's a lot easier to go over on 2 as a setter when you're already over the net to begin with at 6 feet tall.
Yeah, Wilson has 78 kills this season, and it's not like she plays similarly to Rachel Maslak, who will sometimes be a hitter, sometimes be a setter. Wilson's the setter all the way around for these Owls. On the defensive side, we mentioned Michaela Kiyanko on senior day with 410 digs. Riley Bunker is the libero for Keene State. She's a junior, 315 kills. Again, Beacons great at the net with Sarah Doyle. Both teams serve it pretty well. Coach for Keene State is Bob Weiner. He is in his 13th season as head coach, has that strong record. Keene State has been one of the consistent teams to challenge UMass Boston over the past decade. On the flip side for the Beacons, it's Mike Houlihan in his first year as the solo head coach after a number of seasons as the co-head coach. Beacons looking to continue their success here in Little East play. A win today would go a long way in guaranteeing home court advantage throughout the course of the Little East Conference playoffs.
Yeah, this match is crucial, but maybe more so for UMass Boston than Keene State. And the reason I say that is the Beacons still have a match on Friday at Eastern Connecticut State. If the Beacons win today and lose on Friday, which is possible, the Beacons did lose to Eastern to start the LEC regular season on the road, I believe 2 years ago. Then you're looking at a 3-way tie for first. It comes down to tiebreakers. Keene State's in the slightly better situation if it were to get to that because they haven't lost a set this year in conference play. And when you get to those 3-way ties, it does potentially come down to sets if every team has the exact same record against opposing teams. So this one's a huge one for UMass Boston, in large part just to say that this still is our conference. The Beacons lost Terry Condon to retirement, lost a tremendous senior class a year ago, and this group wants to show that it's not just going to be the rest of the conference's chance to take away what has been theirs for so long.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the starting lineups, and we'll also check in on Senior Day. That's all coming ahead on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Back at the Clark Athletic Center, let's run you through the starting lineups for today's matchup. We'll start with the Owls of Keene State, 19-3 on the season. We already told you about Rachel Lamica and the setter Bailey Wilson. The middle hitter, Neve Dodd, 270 hitting percentage with 123 kills this year. A really good second option on the inside.
I love the fact that she's got 18 solo blocks and 57 total blocks. Those are pretty good numbers for a player who has done a little bit of everything. The big question for me going into this match for Keene State is, has their strength of schedule hurt them a little going into this match? The Beacons have the far worse record, but they've played a lot of the top teams in New England. They took on Johnson & Wales. Worse for wear from it, a 3-0 loss this past weekend. But these past three matches, in between the Plymouth State match last Wednesday and the match this Wednesday, have all been preparing UMass Boston for this Keene State Eastern Connecticut 2-match straight. And hopefully what Michael Houlihan was thinking is, if we play these really tough teams in a regionally ranked Roger Williams, in a very tough team in Clark that the Beacons took to 5, and then in Johnson & Wales, the #1 ranked team in the region, that might have us playing better volleyball heading into Keene State, heading into Eastern Connecticut State, 2 of the top 3 teams in the Little East.
Both teams undefeated in Little East Conference play. Keene State has not dropped a set yet in the conference. Now the starting lineup for the Beacons. They'll introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Alex Gibbs, a senior hitter, and I'm from Barracks Ranch, Texas.
Hi, I'm Rachel Maslak, and I'm a junior setter from Berlin Center, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Amelia Chepievska. I'm a sophomore outside hitter from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Eileen Shi. I'm a junior outside hitter from San Francisco, California.
Hi, I'm Ariana Casengol, and I'm a sophomore middle from Melbourne, Florida.
I'm Michaela Kianco. I'm a senior libero from Clearwater, Florida.
Hi, I'm Sarah Doyle, a sophomore middle hitter from Glendale, California.
All right, closing in on the start of this one between UMass Boston and Keene State. Before we start the match, we'll have our Senior Day celebration. Michaela Kianco, Alex Gibbs will both be honored. Kianco, a walk-on to this team as a sophomore. Who would have thought her senior year she would fill such an important void for the Beacons, taking the place of All-American Elizabeth Glavin, who graduated last year. 410 digs, and if you want to break that down set by set, that's 5 digs a set for Michaela Kianco.
Yeah, it's been a 1-2 punch this year between Kianco and Brenna Peruch, a senior for Plymouth State, battling for that top spot. Kianco was a player who came in as a transfer, and she had to battle for that second spot. The Beacons have gone through a slew of DSs behind Elizabeth Glavin, and Kianco is one of the few that survived the meat grinder. She's done a really nice job this season. It's not easy filling in for a player like Glavin, who was not just great defensively, but was a very strong server, was very good on serve receive and passing, and she's done a good job of keeping that back line calm and really making a lot of huge plays. She's had some really big matches against strong opponents on the road.
And she does lead the Beacons in service aces as well, with 28 this season. She's a nursing major out of Clearwater, Florida. Michaela Kianco, the first of 2 seniors. The second senior, Alex Gibbs, 4 years on this club, her 45th match tonight. 99 career kills. So we'll keep a watch for that first kill a day for Alex Gibbs. If it comes, it'll be the milestone, her 100th. And of those 99 kills, 62 have come this season.
Yeah, she's a player who didn't see a ton of time her first 2 years, saw a decent amount of time the first 5-10 matches last year, and then lost her spot, and the Beacons were on a roll. UMass Boston finished last year 29-5, and it wasn't an easy time to find a spot in that rotation. So this year, again, played a lot early, saw a little bit of time where she was stuck to the bench, but she came back against Wellesley, played a lot more recently, and had her first career double-double against Wellesley, 10 kills, 10 digs. Player that really has stepped up, and a big reason she's seen more time is because she's an effective passer.
Well, on a really young team with only 2 seniors, you do hope as the season winds down, it's those seniors who sense the urgency of their playing days winding down that can really carry the team down the stretch.
Yeah, the big worry for me in a senior day match, and Bill, I don't know if you feel the same, is senior day is a blessing and a curse. Senior day, sometimes you see seniors step up and have phenomenal games that are easily the best statistically of their career, or they help key an upset. But at the same point, sometimes you have those matches where seniors are a little bit emotionally invested. They're really high before the game, and then it gets into their head a little bit. They recognize this is the last time I might play at home, and they don't have good games, and that hurts the rest of the team. So right now, with those two, you're hoping that they keep the emotions level, they channel it, and they are able to have a good match because they're going to need it against Keene State.
And here's the positive. At least if you're thinking about getting emotionally tied up on your last home game, even if the Beacons were to lose today, they'd likely still at least host an earlier round playoff game here at the Clark Athletic Center. So likely we'll be back here at least once more. Of course, a win today goes a long way in guaranteeing that all of the postseason action for the Beacons will be here in Boston.
Right now, while we're waiting, we might as well take a look at the keys to the match before we get to the national anthem. And already talked about it a little bit. Channel the emotions, that's the easy one. The next two, though, that's probably what Michael Houlihan's talking about. Rachel Lamica, when you look at her numbers, number one in kills per set, number one in hitting percentage amongst players who qualify. You have to try to limit her. The Beacons did a great job a week ago in limiting Plymouth State's top hitter, Claire Sporer, hoping to do the same. And then the Beacons, the one area that they're statistically superior at is the block. You have to win that battle, and hopefully by a decisive margin.
Again, so tough to predict where the block needs to go here, though. As you said, that fact that the setter, Bailey Wilson, will go over on 2 can really keep you honest. We'll pause for the national anthem. When we come back, we'll get things going.
Sure.
All right, game on at the Clark Athletic Center. The game of the year so far in the Little East Conference. 4-0 Keene State, 4-0 UMass Boston. Between them, they are 24-2 in sets this season. Beacons have won 12 of the 14 sets they've taken in conference play, and Keene State 4 sweeps to open up the conference season. 12 consecutive sets won.
Keene State started the year 15-0. They sit at 19-3, so a bit of a rockier patch as of late, playing some tougher teams. They did lose to MIT, lost to Clark, a good team out of the NUMAC. Right now, though, a chance for UMass Boston as an athletic department to get some revenge. The Beacons women's soccer team lost 1-0. The Beacons men's soccer team lost 1-0 in double overtime. third meeting between the two schools of many this year, I'm sure. So this is always a good one, though, anytime you get these two teams.
I'm sure that's on the top of the volleyball team's mind here tonight as they go into this one.
Hey, you never know. I'm probably the only one thinking that way. But
UMass Boston in black, Keene State in the red. I want to talk comparable opponents if you're just trying to get a gauge on this. Of course, there's comparable conference opponents, but both teams have lost to Clark. Beacons in 5 sets. Keene State was swept. Beacons beat WPI in 4 sets. WPI handed Keene State a 5-set loss. Beacons will start with the service. Rachel Maslak, the junior do-it-all for the Beacons, will serve.
Such an underrated player. Not only is she one of the Beacons' 2 setters, she's been a great hitter and has played well defensively.
Right off the bat, the feed to Lamica picked up. Eileen Shi off the block. Outside, Rachel Lamica hammers down her 350th kill of the season.
Very strong swing from Lamica. Bill, it's one thing to talk about how tall Bailey Wilson is. It's another thing to see it. She looks like another hitter out there, and you can see why she goes over on 2 so much. She's going to be a problem tonight.
She's only a freshman, too. She, from the middle, changing her line of attack to even things up 1-1.
That's a big credit to Bob Weiner. We've seen Plymouth State and Keene State following the Beacons' trend of recruiting nationally, and that's making the entire conference a lot more competitive.
And not just from California, but an all-CIF player in California. Great high school player. Wilson sets it up to the center. Jennifer Severino's blocked. There's a shot from Amelia Shepievsky, and that is just wide. So 2-1, the lead for Keene State. Shepievsky's up to 173 kills. That's second on the Beacons behind Eileen Shi.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly Amelia saw that time. It looked like she was going down line and then changed the angle at the last second, sent it well wide.
To the backside, hammer down. Ariana Kassengall, the sophomore, evens things up at 2. We've rotated points so far, 2-all.
That's big for the Beacons to get some secondary hitting, especially from Kassengall. Doing a nice job of just pumping it right through the block.
Kiyanko's service floats in. Free ball that catches the net to make things a bit more interesting. To the backside, Chepievska. Finesse shot goes down. Second kill for Amelia Chepievska. Beacons on top for the first time.
Nice work by Maslak, finding Chepievska, and a good read, recognizing she wasn't going to be able to get that shot over the block and confuse the block enough to come up with the kill.
Sophomore transfer, kind of a slow start this season as there's the first service error of the day, but Chepievska is starting to play a lot better for the Beacons.
Well, she was coming off an injury, so realistically readjusting to her body. She barely played as a freshman at, I believe it was South Dakota State, and she's had some really good matches and had some matches where she's probably been a little bit out of rhythm, but a player who has a bright future.
Sarah Doyle powered that through the block for the kill. Doyle's 131st kill of this season, another good option in the middle.
Beacons have looked to the middle a couple times already, trying to take advantage of the one spot on the floor that they should have an edge.
Shepievska's service. It's a good pickup by Riley Bunker, the libero for Keene State. To the outside, Gibbs, too strong.
Just got under that one a little bit, floated it long. We'll see both teams make some substitutions, and it's Carson Kamensk who will serve as the second setter, at least to start today's match for the Beacons.
So Kamensk rotates in. Sydney Morgan back to serve for Keene State. She's a bit of a service specialist, 23 aces this season in limited playing time. To the center, Doyle again. Hot start for Sarah Doyle. Beacons up 5-4.
Sarah's just one of those players who plays bigger than she is, and she's already bigger than most players out there. 6'2", she's very long, has some of the similar moves that we saw from Julia Murphy, where she's just able to extend her arms into awkward positions to get a good angle. And she's a player who should be a 4-year starter and potentially will get her name up on the All-American wall by the time she's done.
Oh, if you're double jointed, it's a real advantage around the net. Set up by Wilson to the center, stuffed by Doyle. Wilson fires one up again. Olivia Matthew plays it off the block. Matthew, 134 kills now on this season. That's good for second on Keene, a sophomore from Derry, New Hampshire.
we talk about Wilson's ability to go over on 2 because she's so high to begin with. I think it also really helps with her ability to see players.
Yep.
She saw over her middle to see the outside hitter there and create that play.
Well, some miscommunication on the service return, but the Beacons dodge a bullet. There's the first time Wilson over on 2, and the Beacons were ready for it. And it leads to a Beacon point on Rachel Maslak's kill. So the scouting report and the preparedness for the possibility of Wilson on 2 pays off early.
Yeah, that was a great job to prepare for it, but Carson Comments brought Maslak really tight to the net.
Yep.
I don't know how Rachel was able to avoid touching that. A really good swing to get the Beacons the side out once again.
154th kill for Maslak, who also has more than 300 assists this season. Shianko hustling, couldn't quite catch up after the swing on the outside for Matthew. Really good effort, though, by Carson Cummins, who chased after that one down into the corner.
Yeah, that was the first time this year, at least here at home, that we've seen all three setters out there.
Yep.
Elliott was out there to serve and potentially just to serve as she checks out immediately, but very interesting looking lineup.
Cummins working as the setter, sets up Maslak, and it's dug out. To the outside, Lamika, bang! 2 kills on 2 swings for Rachel Lamika.
Well, she has tremendous ups. Lamika got well over the net, was able to pound that ball down rather than long, and able to get over Rachel Maslak, who's a pretty good jumper in her own right.
Eileen Shi gets up as well. That catches the rafters to keep it alive for Keene.
That saved that point as that ball was heading towards the back of the gym.
A second swing for Shi. Again, it's picked up, but down it goes. Kate West could only get a piece, and Eileen Shi's second effort nets the kill.
Give West credit, though. Eileen Shi is one of the hardest hitters in the conference. Her first dig attempt probably would have been out of play, but at least kept close enough to give her team a chance. Even the second one wasn't that far out of play.
7-all early going to undefeated teams in conference play. That's straight into the net and down off the Beacon. So that rolled through the net, the Beacon block, and down on the Beak side. Give the kill to Olivia Matthew.
It's one of those plays where I think you look at the coaches and they're looking at the down officials saying, was there not a double touch? Was there not a palm? It almost looked as if Neve Dodd took the ball and just pushed it across the net.
Wide right for Shi. Eileen Shi has the good ability to be able to be on the opposite side or the left outside as well, so she can attack you from all over. We'll get an early Beacon timeout from Mike Houlihan with Keene State ahead 9-7. As they take a break on the court, we'll take a break as well. 9-7 lead for Keene State in the opening set on the Beacon's broadcast network.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
At the Clark Athletic Center, good start for Keene State, still undefeated, not just in the 4 conference matches, but in each set so far, 12-0 in sets, and they lead 9-7 against UMass Boston. This might be the best Keene State team Bob Weiner has had in his 13 years, or at least one of the best, and they're trying to snap a 9-year losing streak to the Beacons.
They've had some very good teams, and they've been beaten by slightly better UMass Boston teams. This UMass Boston team, not as talented as some of the past couple years, but they still have the talent to win a championship. It's just the consistency we haven't seen tonight.
Shapievska finds a soft spot in the defense. Sometimes not how hard, it's just where you put it.
Yeah, that was a quarter, maybe a half swing, but it was the location going away from the block, and the defense wasn't ready for it.
Second kill today for Amelia Shapievska, and Eileen Shi serves. It's a good one. And a ball handling error against Bailey Wilson. 78 kills, 704 assists for Bailey Wilson, also 28 blocks.
Yeah, there's a good candidate for Little East Conference Rookie of the Year right there.
That service just wide from Shi as she tried to pick out the corner, puts Keene State back on top.
It's interesting. Michael Houlihan has talked about in some of his post-game interviews, the Beacons don't serve for aces necessarily. They serve to get the defense out of their offense, and there were two very different looking serves from Shi. Executed the first one, just missed on the second.
Overpass, Beacons catch a break as that ball rolled off the net. Wilson into her setting position to the outside. Swings picked up. Shepievska off the block. Now here's Lamica, back-footed, and she finds a hole. Third kill for Rachel Lamica on 3 swings.
Same kind of thinking of Shepievska. Okay, I don't think that I can hit the shot that I want to down the line. Let me take a little bit off of it, place it in the middle, and hope the defense can't react. A really nice job of the senior.
Second service for Bailey Wilson. Maslak playing the center roll into Gibbs and through the block. 100th career kill for Alex Gibbs, her first tonight.
Player who's had a breakout senior season, and she and Michaela Kianko, the player who's serving right now, probably want this win more than anyone else on the roster. It'd be a really sad way to finish off your home schedule during the regular season, to lose for the first time against an LEC opponent in the regular season.
Rachel Lamica still rolling. 4 kills on 4 swings, and Keene State's on top.
Yeah, this is very impressive. And Bill, you mentioned it off air. She's not that tall.
No.
Listed at 5'11", a small frame, but does very well to angle her shots, hit the right shots, and that really good vertical jump certainly helps as well.
Service error from Lamica. You just don't see outside hitters who are fed as much as Lamica is hitting above 300. The fact that she's hitting 304 and rising is really impressive. To the outside, Matthew missed it wide. Beacon block slid over to alter that attempt for Olivia Matthew, and we're all square at 12.
Yeah, the Beacons were down 2 heading into that timeout. Michael Houlihan didn't want to let the lead creep out any further, and it's worked as the Beacons have battled their way back in.
Tough serve from Shefieska. Block in the middle. That was Doyle. Real scramble, and the Beacons turn it over. A little miscommunication between Shepievska and Maslak as to who was going for that second ball.
Yeah, that goes along with that inconsistency tack that we've seen from UMass Boston. Communication is key, and sometimes these Beacons players who haven't necessarily played with each other for more than a couple of months don't communicate as well as they should.
Carson Kominski's set is hammered down by Doyle. Good pickup out of Keene State D. To Doyle again, and she finishes this time. 13 all, and you get the feeling that this is how this match is going to be. Back and forth, close each set.
No separation thus far. The largest lead for either side was 2. Really like that set from Carson Commons. Just a freshman. She'll probably see a lot more time as the years go by, but already she's showing off some skills of why she's going to be a big impact player.
Doyle's blocked after the Beacons dug the first Lamica attack of the night. She'd been 4 for her first 4. To the backside, Kelly Hogan's blocked. And down that goes wide. Beg your pardon, it was Kelly Hunt. That's off the Beacon block. Well, no, now they're saying there was no touch, so the Beacons take the point and go ahead 14-13. First set is so big for UMass Boston. They're 13-9 in first sets this season, but they have struggled in matches that have gone past 3 sets. That's in, just down the line for Lamica. Wow, and now, did it get overturned? Yes, the chair umpire overturns the call, says it was wide, and the point goes to the Beacons.
Well, I certainly saw it as wide. I think you did as well. Yep. The line official was just a few feet away and somehow came up with a different vision.
Overturned, though, by the first referee, Patrick Burns, and then a return error against Keene State. So that's 4 in a row for UMass Boston. And for the first time today, Bob Weimer will take time out.
And that all happened because Neve Dodd on an overpass there, just trying to put it over on 3, didn't have a good shot, angled her body a little bit too much towards the sideline, over the head, puts it out, and that was what the Beacons needed to tie it up, and then now they've put a little bit of a run. I don't think, as we see another quick timeout, neither coach is going to let these leads stretch out more than 2-3 points before they use their timeout as a momentum breaker.
Both Mike Houlihan and Bob Weiner have taken timeout, so each side has 1 left at a 16-13 scoreline in this first set. Beacons trying to hand Keene State a first set loss of conference play. Both teams 4-0 in the conference. You mentioned earlier that Keene State's start to this season, they ran out to a 15-0 record. And a number of close wins early on in this season 3-2 wins back-to-back against Riviere and Colby Sawyer. 3-1 wins against Framingham State, Emerson, and Westfield State. But then they got on a run of sweeps starting on September 9th and running all the way through September 3rd. It was a 7-game sweep streak, 7-match sweep streak. 21 straight sets in that process there.
Which is phenomenal. And not to take anything away from Keene State, but Bill, there's a program in New England right now that is not lost and has also won over 60 consecutive sets. That's Johnson and Wales. Yep. The Wildcats, who were undefeated going into last year's NCAA tournament before losing to the Beacons in the first round, are having an unbelievable season and were named the #1 team in the first NCAA New England poll coming out earlier today.
The Beacons just saw Johnson and Wales up close last time out, a 3-set-to-love win for Johnson and Wales. By the way, Eileen Shi, another kill. That's Eileen Shi's second kill today, and the Beacons are up by 4. To the center, it's stuffed. Sarah Doyle right on cue for her first solo block of the day, slamming it down on Neve Dodd.
Doyle's just such a pivotal player in the middle for UMass Boston. The fact that she's taking on an offensive role here in the first set takes the pressure off Maslak, Chepievska, and obviously Eileen Shi.
Great serve from Gibbs leads to that touchdown from Eileen Shi, 19-13 Beacons. And boy, the issue right now for this Keene State team is outside of Rachel Lamica's 4 kills, haven't gotten much more going. The senior Gibbs, good service. Bunker has to play it. Matthew taps it over, redirected, and Kianko keeps it alive.
Wasn't pretty, but it worked.
Matthew blocked. Over on 2 and slammed back. From an odd angle, Gibbs picks it up. Maslak, longest rally of the day. And down it goes. Megan Palmer's first kill. Keene State ends the Beacon run.
Riley Bunker had a really good point. First coming back to get the overhead slam there from Sarah Doyle. She was the only player who had a chance to keep it alive after Wilson went over on 2, and then another nice dig later on. Bunker has to face a lot of pressure in this back line with Wilson pushing forward.
Oh, that was a snipe by Rachel Maslak picking out the back corner. Beacon's up 20-14 in a set that started very slowly for UMass Boston.
We were within a point on either side for the first 12, 15, 20 points. Then it was Keene State, a slim 9-7 lead. Now the Beacons, since that timeout, have gotten off to a really good run.
8 of the last 9 for UMass Boston. Now 8 of 10 as Neve Dodd picks up her 125th kill of the season.
And right back out there, Doyle replacing Christina Elliott, who was only there for the serve. But that's one of those wild 2-for-1 subs. And in the end, it'll be Michaela Kianko replacing Doyle.
Short set for Maslak. Lamica, kill number 5. Boy, she is fierce.
Beacon's block just never got up high enough. I don't think that they've been able to react well enough thus far. It's just so obvious because we're standing right behind the up official how high Lamica is getting over the net.
To the outside, she answers. 2 of the top outside hitters in the Little East Conference going back and forth.
Yeah, well, Eileen's kind of saying anything you can do, I can do better. Eileen Shi's offensive numbers aren't as good, but the reigning honorable mention All-American certainly has the potential to put up huge offensive numbers of her own.
Here's Lamica the other way, beats the block and finds the line. 6th kill for Lamica, up to 355 this season. Only about 40 shy of where she ended last year. And the seniors likely right now the runaway favorite for Conference Offensive Player of the Year. Would end a long run of Beacons. There's a block on the inside. Kianko hammers it back over, and somehow the Beacons get it back. She finds the floor. Eileen Shi. That's a point the Beacons stole right there.
Bill, I don't think a player outside of UMass Boston has ever won LEC Offensive Player of the Year. The conference up until 2011, maybe 2012, went with an overall Player of the Year, switched up to offensive and defensive, and the Beacons have pretty much won offensive every year, and defensive pretty much always went to Elizabeth Glavin, except for maybe one season.
And of course, Murphy, the last 4 years, winning back-to-back-to-back-to-back Offensive Player of the Year awards. 22-18. Beacons up by 4 in the opening set. It's a good return from Gibbs. Now it comes back to her, and she plays it on both ends. The service return and the finish for Alex Gibbs.
I like that from Maslak, sensing that Gibbs is going to have a nice little run into that shot down the line, and Gibbs gets up high enough, able to angle the shot off the block and down on the Keene side.
Second kill today for Gibbs. Float serve from Chianco is a good one. Lamica off the slide, kept alive. Should be a free ball. Lamica again, hammers it down. Oh, she's been almost the entire offense for Keene State. That's her 7th kill of the first set.
The only good news, if you're a UMass Boston fan, about Lamica's success is Keene State's going to the well a lot here in set 1 because everyone else is struggling. Hopefully, if you're UMass Boston, maybe that'll tire her out a little bit, especially if this match goes 4 or 5. The arm could get a little bit tired.
She's been efficient, 7 kills on 8 swings. She's hitting .875, but after the service error, it's set point Beacons. Shepievska drops it short to win set 1. An ace for Amelia Shepievska. Beacons start strong, finishing the set with a flurry. They're up 1 set to love, 25-19. Second set coming up next in the Beacons Broadcast Network.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
We head to the second set. Beacons took the opening set against Keene State in a battle of unbeatens, 25-19. 2 4-0 teams in the conference. Beacons hand Keene State their first set loss of Little East Conference play, and let's take a look at some of those first set highlights.
So we take a look early on. A couple of nice moves by either side. And early on, the two teams very, very even. Here's a good block from Sarah Doyle as the Beacons started to stretch it out midway through the set. Later on, you see a big swing coming from Rachel Maslak on the far side. And here's that service error towards the end, pushing the Beacons lead to 5 as UMass Boston eventually took it 25-19.
Look at some of the stats from that opening set, Seth, and we talked about how the Beacons have been inconsistent hitting. Well, there was no inconsistency in the opening set. 15 kills against just 3 errors. They hit .375 in that opening set.
Keene State wasn't too far behind. No. .265, 12 kills on versus 3 errors. Both teams hitting the ball extremely well. UMass Boston held that slight edge in blocks 1-0. But the good thing for UMass Boston, 2 aces versus 3 errors. Keene State 0 aces with 2 service errors. So that's been a problem this year, the service aces and the service errors, and thus far the Beacons doing a nice job on both sides of the ball.
Well, the 2 top players for these 2 teams came to play in the first set. Rachel Lamica, 7 kills on 8 swings on the Keene State side. Eileen Shi, 5 kills against just 1 error. .364 hitting percentage to lead the Beacons. Here we are in set 2. Beacons get the first chance. Maslak over on 2. And it leads to a ball handling error. So Rachel Maslak trying to Bailey Wilson the Owls going over there.
Maslak wasn't doing it because she wanted to. It was because she was so tight to the net, didn't really have a good place to push the ball otherwise, but it works out nonetheless, and she has more kills than Wilson does.
Out wide, Neve Dodd hammers it down. Of course, a lot of Maslak's kills come in the flow of the offense. Wilson hasn't put anything down yet against the Beacons. They scouted that setter who likes to go over on 2 very well.
Only 2 attempts thus far.
Here's Riley Bunker. Shepievska, cross court. Lamica again, and she's still rolling. 8 kills on 9 swings.
Every time she's getting over the Beacons block, I don't know if it's just she is a phenomenal vertical or the Beacons are a little bit late in getting the block there.
It's like she's got the moon shoes on right now. She's flying. That serve just long for Bunker. So that's a 4th service error today on Keene State.
Should we check her shoes for a little bit of flubber on the bottom?
Look to see, yep.
We're going old school.
Moon shoes were those were the shoes to have back in the day. Great service from Shi. To the center, Severino picked up by Kianko. Shi from the back, and that's pure power for Eileen Shi.
And Severino made the right play trying to block that at the net. That ball is just coming in at such a hard speed that it's difficult to block it down. And Eileen Shi is certainly showing that she's come to play in this huge LEC match.
6 kills for Shi, who follows that up with a service error. So scoreline 3-all, second set after the Beacons took the first set, 25-19. You know the sad thing, most of the people up here in the booth with us probably don't even remember moon shoes.
Different generation, Bill.
Gibbs on senior day fires one over. Lamica in tight, and it doesn't matter. 9th kill for Lamica on 10 swings. She's hitting 900.
Well, I said the key would be to key in on her. Maybe it's just to let her have hers and to focus on everyone else, because thus far it's been working for UMass Boston.
She has 9 of the 14 Keene State kills. Shepievska off the block gets the tip, and the Beacons even things up at 4.
I think that's a big reason why the Beacons were able to take that first set. She did have a nice set with 5 kills, but then 3 from Doyle, 2 each from Gibbs, Maslak, and Shepievska. On the other side, Keene State only had 3 players with more than 2 kills.
But Beacons have given Keene State some fits with those short services. Did it again here. Lamica once more goes finesse, and Maslak's there. Shi from the back. Off the scoreboard, and out it goes. So much power from Shi, it went off the libero bunker all the way up to the Beacons scoreboard that's about 20 feet high.
Yeah, Olivia Matthew got her hands there, but couldn't quite angle the ball as Riley Bunker was right underneath there, causing her to play the ball out of bounds.
5-4 lead for the Beacons. The back set, Lamica, and Kianko's got her. That's 2 attacks in a row defended by the Beacons.
I think anytime you can keep Lamica from not picking up a kill, it's essentially a win.
And blocked! The combination from Gibbs and Doyle stuffing Megan Palmer. Beacons up 2. Now this is a focused start for UMass Boston.
Oh, yeah. You can really see that the Beacons team recognizes how important this match is, and I think that playing those 3 really difficult non-conference teams help them. They're playing with a little bit more aggression.
Shi from the back. Over, hit it, 6-5. Yeah, you mentioned the oddity kind of in the schedule for the Beacons in the midst of conference play. 3 consecutive non-conference matchups last weekend. Roger Williams, Clark, and Johnson and Wales. A 3-1 loss to Roger Williams, a 3-2 loss to Clark, and then swept by the top team in the region, Johnson and Wales, last time out. Maslak set, picked up by Doyle. On the other side, that's hammered through by Palmer and falls to the hardwood. Megan Palmer picks up a kill, and it's 6-all.
Beacons block just didn't quite get their hands far enough towards the net, allowing that ball to sliver off their hands and down on the Beacons side.
Shepievska trying to scramble, and it's out off the service return error. Good serve on the back from Rachel Lamica, who's doing it all right now.
Yeah, Lamica is being limited because She can't get up close to the net and essentially spike it down, so she's trying to take advantage of her spot at the service line.
Look at that service from Lamika, leading to another Keene State point, and that's 4 in a row for the Owls.
Michael Holohan took a timeout in almost this exact spot in set 1, down 9-7. Little surprised he's not taking it here, trying to slow down the hot server.
Yeah, he'll let it ride right now. To the middle. Doyle angles it off Severino and down. Third kill for Sarah Doyle.
That's a difficult swing. She's literally contorting her body to get a good look off. And a huge side out for UMass Boston, cutting it within 1.
The South Dakota State transfer, Amelia Shepievska's service. Severino back-footed, just gets it over. Gibbs, too much. Block stayed down, a point to Keene State. Here is that identical 9-7 scoreline, but this time Mike Houlihan will allow the Beacons to keep playing through it.
Carson Commons comes back in for UMass Boston, so Maslak will now serve as one of the hitters for the Beacons. Didn't see it a ton in set 1, but Commons and Maslak seem to have a really good connection, the two players for the Beacons out of the state of Ohio.
Commons too tall on that set for Doyle. Doyle 6'2". 3-point lead for Keene State is the largest all day for the Owls. Always nice to have two setters out there because you know you've got a couple different people who can pass the ball depending on the serve situation. Shi from the back puts it down. It's her 3rd kill from the back today. Overall, her 8th kill of the day.
It's been really impressive watching Lamika versus Shi. They're not necessarily going up against one another, but both of them are having a lot of success offensively in a lot of different ways. It's not been the same kind of kill every time. They're switching it up and making the defense work.
They've combined for 17 of the 64 points tonight. Off the block, out it goes. Give the kill to Megan Palmer, who played that flat ball off the combination of Doyle and Maslak.
And Bill, that doesn't take into account that both of them have a couple of service errors to their names, so not that helps their team.
Shi into the net.
Never got over.
12-8 Keene. And you got the feeling as UMass Boston will take a timeout here. This was not going to be a game where either one of these teams could really run away with it.
No, UMass Boston was able to finish off that first set pretty well, and it made it look a little bit more of a successful set than it was. But right now, I'm surprised it took this long to call the timeout, as Kirsten Morrison and Michael Houlihan discussed things. There's got to be a focus of some way, somehow, to cut down on the success of Lamika a little bit. She's just having too much success on too few swings here to give the Beacons confidence that they can slow her down going forward.
Well, after 7 kills on 8 swings in the first set, her hitting percentage has fallen just a bit. After the Beacons dug 2 attacks, she's now hitting just .692 on the night.
You can hit .692 in a non-conference match against a team that is not necessarily deserves to be on the same floor as you. You shouldn't be hitting .692 against one of the better defensive teams in the conference, and that's all the credit in the world to Rachel Lamb because she's having a tremendous match. But Michael Houlihan and Kirsten Morrison's job right now is to figure out how to change that. If they can bring her down to 300, that would be a major victory.
Lamika hitting .304 on the season. She's out of Malone, New York. That's way up north near Canada, big hockey country. 393 kills last year. That was good enough to put her on the second team Little East Conference. She could basically stop playing this season and guarantee herself a spot on the first team this year. Great service from Palmer. It's an ace and a 5-point lead for Keene State. That's how you carry momentum out of a timeout.
And this is what we've seen from UMass Boston. A great first set followed by sometimes an inconsistent second. This is a big possible turning point. Can UMass Boston get back into this set?
Comments to the back. Maslak hammers it down. A 3rd kill for Rachel Maslak. Not looking like a player who came in as a setter there. She looked like a true hitter.
Now, Rachel's one of the strongest athletes in the entire department and showed it off there. Here's Christina Elliott coming in to serve. That's all that she's been tasked to do today. Elliott has had some really good service runs over the year, especially against Keene State. A chance here to get her team back in it.
Well, there's the start. 28th ace of the season for Christina Elliott, tied for the team lead with Michaela Kianko.
Remember her freshman season, she had a couple of big runs against Keene State in the first conference matchup of the year.
Goes to the float serve this time. To the outside, Matthew drops it in. Saw the block had come in tight and put it right over the top. Olivia Matthew records her 3rd kill today.
Yeah, all 3 players from the front line crept in a bit too close. None of them able to get a hand on it, and it was an easy kill there for Matthew.
Comments to the back. Maslak's blocked. Rachel Lamica combining with Neve Dodd, and it's back to a 5-point lead for the Owls. It's feeling it's now or never in this second set for the Beacons if they're going to make a run and get back in it. And that's a good way to start. Ariana Kassin from the middle.
This set certainly means more for Keene State. You never want to fall behind 2-0, especially on the road. But the way this second set ends might mean more to UMass Boston because this Beacons team has had so many roller coaster rides throughout the season in terms of matches, much less 2 to 3 match streaks. Really want to close this out, tighten it up, put the pressure on Keene heading into the 3rd set.
Lamica off the block and down. 16-11, 10th kill for Lamica. Now, Beacons would obviously love to see this be a 3 or 4 setter because they have yet to win a 5-set match this season. 0-3 in matches that have gone the distance.
And they've been really close. At Endicott, they led 15-14 and 16-15. Eventually dropped that one 18-16.
Shepievska, it's a good dig by Bunker. Shi, pass Bunker. Oh, that was a rocket from Eileen Shi to pull the Beacons back within 4.
And Eileen's one of those players that the Beacons try to limit her total swings because she has had some arm fatigue over the past 2 seasons, but she seems really loose tonight, getting a lot of really strong looks.
And she wins one from the service line, her 2nd ace to go along with 9 kills. Beacons back within 3.
Yeah, UMass Boston just wants either one big run of 4 or 5 points in a row to get back into it, or a couple runs of 2 or 3 points with a side out in between.
Well, there's 2 in a row off the serve and 3 straight Beacon points. Eileen Shi has galvanized the Beacons here in set 2.
I don't think Eileen liked the fact that I called her out for those service errors. She had 3 service errors through the early portion of this set. Now has 2 aces to go along with it.
Make it 3. 3 consecutive aces. It's a 1-point match. And let's see, will Bob Weiner take time? He's going to let his team play through it.
I'm stunned by that decision. Why let a hot server continue to go? Finally, they're able to handle it.
Outside Lamica. And she ends the drought. 11th kill for Rachel Lamica. Puts Keene State back within 2, but that run of 4 straight Beacon points has them right back in this set.
Yeah, a huge difference between a 5-point deficit and a 2-point deficit, especially at this point in a set. UMass Boston now can relax a little bit and just focus on taking it point by point.
Good pickup by Kianko. A free ball for Keene State. Lamica blocked. First time tonight the Beacon blocks got there. And they're ready for Wilson on 2. Shepievska through the libero and down. It's a 1-point set again.
Bill, personally, I find it difficult to identify coaching strategies in volleyball compared to other sports that I grew up playing. But you got to give the Beacon staff a lot of credit. We knew, just based off the numbers, we were going to see a lot of going over on 2 by Wilson. The Beacons have been ready for it every time and have done a nice job handling it.
Lamica down the line. 12th kill for Rachel Lamica. It is 18-16 Keene State.
On the other hand, I have no idea how you strategize to slow her down.
Still no errors for Lamica either. She's hitting better than 700.
Yeah, that's the most impressive part.
And now a service from Lamica eats up Kianko, and it's back to a 3-point lead.
Yeah, just turned her hands wrong there on the service reception. The Beacons, quick timeout here. They'll use their second, trying to cut the success of Lamica from the service line as Michaela Kianko is going to have a brief conversation with Michael Houlihan.
And remember, Keene State still has both of its timeouts in this set if the Beacons make another run. 19-16 the score here in this second set with Keene on top after the Beacons handed Keene its first loss in a Little East Conference set this season. It was a 25-19 set 1 win for UMass Boston. What have you thought Keene's done differently in this second set?
Well, I think they've gotten a little bit more help I don't know if the statistics show, but yeah, Olivia Matthews up to 4 kills, 3 for Neve Dodd. And I think they're just being a little bit more aggressive at the net. The Beacons haven't been as consistent, not to take anything away from Keene State.
Yep.
Keene State's also served a lot better. They have a couple of aces in this set. They had 0 in the first.
Oh, that Beacon hitting percentage has come back to earth a little bit. They were at 375, now at 278. Keene is hitting 333. It's been a really well-played volleyball match. You look at it, Keene with only 4 attack errors midway through this second set. Beacon's not bad either, only 9 attack errors so far.
But 6 of them coming here in set 2.
Lamica to serve again. She's been very good back there. Kianko picks this one up to the middle. Doyle. Severino keeps it alive. Doyle again through Severino, and it's muscled over by Matthew.
Beacons had 2, maybe 3 chances there, unable to come up with the kill. This point is crucial right now.
Kianko digs Lamica. Through the block and down. Megan Palmer wins a big point for Keene State to put the Owls back up 4.
That's a killer right there. Anytime you're getting that many free balls, you have to come away with the point. The Beacons not only unable to come away with the point, not able to get a great swing there in an effort to come away with it.
Lamica into the net for the service error makes it 20-17. Especially on a day where you haven't been able to dig Rachel Lamica. You get a dig on Lamica, and still the point goes the way of the Owls. Shepievska goes finesse on the service. To the backside. Palmer misses just long. She'd been heating up. Too strong there. Beacons back within 2. Amelia Shepievska. Short float serve. From the outside, Matthew. It's blocked. Gibbs off the Keene State block. Another swing for Matthew, flat-footed. Maslak on 2, and bunkers there. Matthew once more through the block and down. Third try on the point for Olivia Matthew, and finally it pays off.
It's a well-played point. Both teams did a nice job defensively coming up with the digs. I like the idea from Maslak going over on 2. She just didn't get her body around enough time to get a powerful swing. It's a pretty easy dig for the Owls.
21-18. Keene State by 3, trying to equalize this match at 1 set apiece. Back set, Gibbs off the block, and somehow Keene gets it over. Right back to Maslak and down. Rachel Maslak earns another kill, her 4th today. It was a good scramble point.
Yeah, that was really, really nice by Keene State, able to just punch it up, keep the ball in play, and a nice job. Comments going right back to the back set there, able to find Gibbs the first time, and then Maslak on the second effort.
It was a really good pass by the setter, Kamensk. Matthew down the line, wide, and no touch. Well, Keene State wants the touch.
They should get it. It certainly looked as if it came off the block. That's why Sydney Birch was diving. Take a look at the replay if we have it.
And Keene State will take a timeout. I'm with you. I thought it was through the block and out. Break goes the Beacons' way, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point match in set 2.
And Bob Weiner is yelling at the up official. It's one of those calls where it doesn't matter which side you're rooting for. As we'll take a look right here. I think we have it. If we can look at this in slow-mo, you're going to see it on the far side, which will make it more difficult.
Looked like the spin changed there at the net.
And it certainly looked like the ball slowed down just a bit. So that's a call that goes the Beacons' way. It's unfortunate. You want to see the referees make the right call. They're going to make occasional mistakes, and that's a big one there because instead of being 22-19, the Beacons within a point, and they have the serve.
You would say, usually over the course of the match, the calls are going to even out, but that one stings late in the set. See how Keene bounces back out of the timeout. Remember, the Owls still have one more timeout left. Beacons don't have any timeouts left here in this second set.
But every time Keene State takes a timeout, it helps UMass Boston gather themselves. Right now, a big spot for Sydney Birch.
First time we've seen the sophomore from Boca Raton.
She's the backup libero, the DS, and captain on this year's team. A big spot for her to maybe earn some more time.
Good serve backing up Lamica. How about the libero bunker going over? To the back, Maslak, too strong. Gotta love 4'11" Riley Bunker taking a swing for Keene State.
With Rachel Lamica right next to her. That's one where Nice job, Riley, but next time just let the girl who's on fire get the swing off.
22-20 lead for Keene State. Maslak picked up by Bunker. Matthew from the outside, rejected! That's a huge block for Doyle and Maslak.
Sarah Doyle once again proving why she's the top blocker in the conference, able to knock that one down. And now it's Christina Elliott. We've already seen one really nice service run from her. Can she come up with a second here to give the Beacons a potential lead?
After UMass Boston's third block of this match. Good serve from Elliott. Lamica from the back is picked up. Good ball by Maslak. To the outside, Matthew directs it off the block and down. After getting stuffed last time, she plays the flat ball this time, 23-21.
We're seeing some very good volleyball right now between two undefeated teams in conference. Sydney Birch really calm and collected coming off the bench. A good dig of Lamica, but the Beacons unable to take advantage.
Every point crucial here late in this set. Shi blocked, and out it goes. Big swing from Shi, powering it out off Bailey Wilson. Still just a 1-point set.
And now it's up to Rachel Maslak. You'd love to take the lead right here. 2 or 3 points in a row, 3, and you take the set.
Oh, this is going to be a huge swing in this match, whichever way this set goes. Flat-footed into the block. Now out for Lamica, and she's stuffed, but muscles it down. 12th kill for Rachel Lamica. Set point, Keene State.
Bill, at this point, it seems like anytime the Beacons can get Wilson to go anywhere but Lamica, it's a win. It's a point you need to take advantage of. UMass Boston unable to do it with the first swing, and Lamica takes advantage on her second effort.
Riley Bunker trying to close this one out at the service line. Shi says not yet. Eileen Shi's 11th kill today.
And Lamica was there, but the shot goes off the block. She has 3 aces all in this set. Needs one potentially right here to even it.
Led the Beacons on a 4-0 run earlier this set. And it's a return error that knots things up at 24.
We haven't seen Kate West a ton on the court today, and I like that decision. Go after the player who maybe isn't as into the match as some of the other starters.
Skittered off the sophomore, right back to West, and she picks this one up. Lamica into the net. That's a rough time for her first error today. Beacons have their first lead, and it's a set point.
Wasn't a great serve receive. Wilson didn't have a great angle at finding Lamica, and Lamica's only effort was really to go up soft, just didn't get enough under it. The good news for Keene, they do have that second timeout stored in the back pocket. They'll use it here, and I always feel like it's great. It's just like football. Puts the pressure on the server. They're thinking for 1:15. Okay, got to get the ball over, but the Beacons don't play that way. The focus is getting the defense, getting the opposing side out of their offense, so maybe a difficult serve could end up in the net or over the back line.
In terms of momentum, if the Beacons close this set out after being down 20-16 and earlier in this set being down by 5, it could take all the wind out of Keene State's sails with a 2-set-to-love lead.
I think even if UMass Boston were to lose this set, depending on how bad it gets, I mean, right now you're leading by a point. You think that you should probably come away with it. UMass Boston's going to feel confident because they were able to fight out of a hole. This is so crucial, though, because you don't want to think too far ahead, but UMass Boston's got another match on Friday. And while these players are used to playing 2 matches in a day, 3 matches in 26, 28 hours, if you can keep yourself a little fresher, that certainly could help if you go 4 or 5 on Friday on the road.
That's a trip to EastCon, who's currently in 3rd place in the conference at 3-1. Shi for the set. It's a great serve. Lamica powers it down. 25 all will continue on in set 2.
I mean, Bill, this is getting predictable, but who else were you going to go to? And that's obviously the goal was to find Lamica, to go to the hot hand. And now UMass Boston come up with the serve receive, see if you can find Shi, if not Maslak.
She's in the back right now. Overpass. Could have been worse. And the point will go to the Beacons. Severino lifted it. Boy, that overpass ended up being fortuitous on the serve return as it found a hole in the Keene State defense.
Yeah, Alex Gibbs certainly didn't mean to do that. Now Michaela Kianko, the Beacons leader in service aces, could close it out right here.
Set point Beacons, and Kianko's into the net. 26 all.
We could be going at this for a while.
You just had the feeling coming into this match. Two really good teams. Beacons lead 1-0. Lamica. Doyle. Lamica from the back. Blocked! Doyle again! Sarah Doyle's third block. Set point 3 for the Beacons.
Well, Doyle didn't get a good swing. Maslak took her off the net a little bit, but she's able to get it on the second chance with a really nice block.
Palmer. It's picked up by Shi. Maslak's into the net. Oh, Keene State keeps on fighting off set points, 27-all.
Yeah, just not a great pass to find Maslak. She had to rush so hard to get to the net, she couldn't stop her momentum.
It's a good volleyball match. Two
really,
teams playing well.
It typically is when these two teams play. This is it's not just a good volleyball match, it's fun volleyball.
Yep.
Both teams throwing punches and taking them right back.
Morgan serve eats up Gibbs, and now Keene State will get a set point for the first time here in the second set.
Alex Gibbs unable to handle it.
And the Beacons get the side out they need. Maslak into the block, down it goes, and Keene State guts out a win in set number 2.
This was a low set by comments, not much that Maslak could do there. Her only swing was right into the block, and that's, well, I'm not going to say it's devastating. It's interesting to see how the Beacons react. They fought their way back in. They know they can play with this Keene State team from a deficit. The big thing is which team comes out and really asserts themselves. Are we going to have 5 sets of really tight volleyball? Who knows?
All right, we'll take a break when we come back. Set number 3 locked up at 1 here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
My name is Albie Daly. I'm from Able Park, New York. I'm a forward on the UMass Boston men's hockey team, and my current major is exercise and health sciences. Being a member of the men's hockey team is a tremendous honor, just because being able to play collegiate sport while pursuing my dreams of becoming a physical therapist and studying what I'd like to in school means a lot. My favorite memory as a member of the men's hockey team would probably be a big goal that I scored last year, the NCAA quarterfinals. ECAC's quarterfinals against University of New England.
What a turn in momentum!
Just because it was a big boost for both myself and our team moving forward.
Perfect shot right there over the shoulder of the goaltender Drost.
Frozen Fenway was just our outdoor game at Fenway Park, and it was a tremendous experience. I think both for me and the guys on the team, and the program as a whole. But we got to see the Red Sox locker room, which was an awesome experience, and just being at Fenway Park when you go to school in Boston is second to none, really, and that's what you look for, when you're trying to experience collegiate athletics, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. Being a student athlete at UMass Boston is a tremendous honor, just because it gives you the chance to really focus on your studies in a great academic environment while pursuing what you want athletically. So it's a pretty powerful thing.
Up by Kianko. She from the back, and that's pure power. Fires one over. Lamica in tight, and it doesn't matter. 9th kill for
back into this set.
Cummins to the back. Maslak hammers it down. Matthew down the line. Wide. Matthew from the outside. Rejected. That's a huge block. Beacons get the side out they need. Maslak into the block. The highlights from a set 2 win, 29-27 for Keene State to knot things up in 1 set apiece. Hi, everybody, with Seth Orensky, Bill Spalding. Glad to be with you. What a second set. It's been great so far between these two teams. Take a look around Beaconville. What else going on in UMass Boston athletics? After 2 really good sets here between UMass Boston and Keene State. As we look around Beaconville, Little East Conference tournament underway for women's tennis. This season ends with a loss to Bridgewater State, 5-0 in the Little East Conference quarterfinals. You see a close matchup for women's soccer with Framingham State. That was yesterday. Men's soccer in action against MIT. That one should just be kicking off right now at 7 p.m. start as we are at the top of the hour. Glad you're locked in with us here on LittleEast.tv because We've got a good one. UMass Boston won the opening set 25-19. Keene State took a marathon second set 29-27 in a matchup for first place in the Little East Conference. Each team 4-0 in conference play so far this year. Rachel Lambica, 13 kills to lead the way for Keene State. 11 kills for Eileen Shi to lead UMass Boston. Rachel Maslach opens up the third set with the service. This will be a free ball for the Beacons. Maslach sets it up. It's blocked. Cassingull's swing didn't go. Lambica blocked down the other way. Cassingull, who was stuffed earlier in the point, combines with Shepievska and blocks it down. A Beacon block number 5 in this first 3 sets.
Phil, I don't think we saw Cassingull for most of that second set. So obviously Michael Houlihan going back to Cassingull and immediately rewarding him with a big block.
To the outside, Shi, too strong. Wants the tip and doesn't get it. 1-1. Back to serve, Riley Bunker, junior from Simi Valley, California. Again, listed at 4'11", Sean. Well, height might help in volleyball. You don't have to be tall to play this sport. Shepievska, Bunker the pickup. Turns into an overpass. On 2, it's picked up. Lambica tight in, and it didn't matter, but she's into the net on the follow-through. Boy, she crushed that ball, but caught the twine.
Oh, she destroyed the ball, but from here it was very obvious that the net was moving immediately, and there had to be a call one way or another.
2-1 Beacons. And now 2-2 as Shi sends it into the net. And it's a good risk reward today for Eileen Shi. 3 aces, but also a couple of service errors. 2-2, UMass Boston and Keene State in this third set. Each side has won a set so far today. Service from Wilson. Free ball to Keene State. Severino in the center, picked up by Kiyanko. Now the senior Gibbs angles it off the block and earns the kill. Alex Gibbs has her 3rd kill today on senior day. Beacons back on top. Lambica's rejected. Sarah Doyle dominant at the net. That's her 4th block and the Beacons' 6th. First 2-point lead for UMass Boston here in this third set. And another service error, the second Beacon service error of set 3. This one against Kiyanko. Bring Rachel Lambica back to the service line where she's notched a couple of aces today. And there's another one. Really close on the line, trying to make that call in or out, and Kiyanko decided to play it 4-4. Gibbs pushes it into the corner. Oh, yeah, surgical strike from Alex Gibbs as the Beacons back up 5-4. Amelia Shepievska, long service. 3 service errors against UMass Boston, keeping Keene State in it early. Five. We're into the third set. Each side has won 1 set in a matchup of 2 4-0 Little East Conference teams. Perfect serve through the net and down. An ace for Bailey Wilson. Beg your pardon, that's Sydney Morgan with the ace. Got the roll across the top. Keene State's first lead of set 3. Outside Maslach, too tall. Errors keeping Keene State in it here in this third set. 3 service errors and an attack error against the Beacons. From the back, Gibbs deflected off Lambica and out. Ends the 5-1 scoring run and pulls the Beacons back within 1. UMass Boston 8-14 in the season, but 4-0 in Little East play. Keene State is 19-3 and 4-0 in the conference. To the back, Palmer's blocked. In the middle, somehow that gets through. Free ball. Middle again, a swing for Dodd is picked up by a sliding Kiyanko. Lamica from the back. Maslak finishes it off. It's a big scramble point for the Beacons to knot things up at 7-all. Now 5 kills for Rachel Maslak. That's tied for second on the team with Alex Gibbs. Beacon scrambling and won't get it over. Passing error against UMass Boston. Keene State back on top 8-7 in a match that is seesawed all day long. This is Megan Palmer to serve. And it's perfect! An ace for Palmer right on the line. Freshman from Long Island has Keene State back on top 9-7. Another good service tight into the net. Beacon scramble to get it over. Through the center, that's too strong for Neve Dodd. First error on Dodd. Beacon's back within 1 at 9-8. After 2 really clean sets, neither side has been particularly clean in the third set. Turned into a war of attrition in set 3. Here comes Christina Elliott, who's been a service specialist today. It's a very good serve from Elliott, and the Beacons are level 9-9. That was a knuckleball that came all the way into Rachel Lamica. Tied at 9, Elliott to serve again. Another knuckler drops in. There's a stuff in the middle for Kassengall. Shi with the swing, off the net and block, and out. Ruled just straight off the net against Shi. The point goes back to Keene State.
It's one of those really frustrating points where no one's going to take responsibility for making the call. The only person who made the call was the linesman who said, yes, that ball was out, which everyone recognized.
10-9 lead for Keene State. Inside, Kassengall's blocked. Here's Shi, powering it through. Eileen Shi's 12th kill.
Bill, we talked about having those 2 setters. The first set for Kassengall from Commons, not quite where it needed to be, but Maslak, a perfect set on the far side. And now we'll see Commons head to the bench. Maslak, the lone setter out there.
10-all. Lamica stuffed. Keene State keeps it alive. Shepievska's rejected, so Lamica was blocked, and then she comes through with a block to end the point.
The one question is Keene State becoming predictable with when they're going to Lamica? The Beacons are getting their hands on more of her swings as this match goes along. That partially could be just getting into the match, but also partially could be recognizing when she's going to get the ball.
Well, she had 9 kills on her first 10 swings, hitting 900. She's now only hitting 296. The Beacon block has started to catch up, though Shepievska's into the net here, and Keene State leads 12-10.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Get her down to 300, which is still a great match, but it's a number that you can accept after the match.
Maslak back for Shi. Eileen Shi's 13th kill, and she's hitting better than 350.
I mean, you're looking at 2 players who are well on their way to 20-kill matches, especially if this goes 5.
Tough service. Lamica. To the outside for Gibbs, into the net. It's another error for the Beacons, and this has been by far the most error-filled set. 4 attack errors, 3 service errors, and we're just at the midway point of set 3.
And that's an unforced error. Gibbs didn't have the block right in front of her. It looked like a pretty decent set from here, just didn't get high enough to get the ball over the net.
13-11 scoreline. Maslak the set, and Gibbs too strong this time. So one short, one long. Now she needs to find that combination that's just right.
Yeah, may have overcompensated, and the Beacons will use their first timeout.
All right, as they take a timeout on the court, we'll take a timeout as well. 14-11, Keene State leads set 3.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
At the Clark Athletic Center alongside Seth Orensky, I'm Bill Spalding. Glad to be with you. In a matchup of the top two teams in the Little East standings, Keene State and UMass Boston are tied 1 set apiece, and Keene has the all-important 3-point lead at the midway point of this third set. This will be the swing set, figuring out who will have the upper hand heading into those final couple of sets. And right now the Beacons, who were very clean early on, have gotten a little bit sloppy in set 3.
Yeah, Beacons hit, what was the number, 375 in the first set?
Yep.
111 in set 2. They might be close to 0 right now. UMass Boston has to pick it up. It starts with the serve receive. You got to get a good pass to the setter. Then the setter has to get off a good set to the hitters, and the hitters have to make the right decisions. UMass Boston needs to improve in all 3 parts of their game right now. This set means more to UMass Boston. The Beacons haven't won a 5-setter all season long. They know how good Keene State's been. This Beacons team, the confidence level could be a little bit lower if they lose this set than Keene State, who's had so much success this year.
Good response out of the timeout. That was Amelia Shepievska with the kill, her 5th today. Kiyanko's serve, a good one. Lamica on the outside, picked up by Shi. Into the middle, it's another stuff for Doyle, rejecting Severino. The 5th block for Sarah Doyle today.
Talked about how important the block was going to be. Sarah Doyle's leaving an impact on this match. Came in leading the conference by a fair margin, and that lead is stretched out by a little bit.
Another good serve from Kiyanko. Maslak, tough set, gets it to Doyle, and down it goes. That was an all-world set by Maslak, picking that one up from over the net and teeing up Doyle.
Yeah, and a really difficult swing for Doyle did just enough. UMass Boston taking advantage of the free ball there.
14-all. Through Doyle, Severino finally wins that battle, and Keene State goes back up by 1.
Love the aggressiveness from Doyle. Occasionally you are going to not get the block exactly where you want it, but she's certainly impacting the Keene State offensive philosophy.
Rachel Lamica to serve, and it's a service error, 15-all.
When you hit the ball as hard as Lamica and Shi, occasionally you are going to see some service errors. Typically those two players who are going to send it either long or very hard into the net.
Palmer picked up by Shepievska. And into the net goes Bunker, trying to save that tight ball. Beacons from down by 4 have the lead here, 16-15.
Riley Bunker is fearless. You see a player of her height and you expect her to maybe just stay towards the back line and be timid. She's been all over the court today for Keene.
Oh, that's a foot save by the setter, Wilson. On the joust, Maslak takes down Severino.
Everyone stopped when Wilson made the foot save, which is totally legal in volleyball. It almost cost the Beacons as they were late to get there, and then a huge joust win by Maslak.
17-15 Beacons. Great service, but Lamica keeps it alive. Flat-footed, she overhits it. Kiyanko called that from the start, and the Beacons lead by 3. Timeout Keene.
That's where you want to force Lamica to make shots. Stuck to the hardwood, doesn't have a good angle, just forced to push it over a little bit too strong. This was a great response by the Beacons out of the timeout.
Yeah, this is starting to feel like the first set where the Beacons were down a few, came out of a timeout, went on a big run, ended up winning the first set going away. Here they were down 4. It was 13-9. They've won 9 of the last 11 points to lead by 3.
And now Keene State's hoping for a similar situation. take their timeout, try to get a side out, keep it going. I love the fact that the Beacons, a little bit more than normal, are taking individual players and going over what they need to focus on, especially the upperclassmen. Maslak and Kianko, so crucial to what the Beacons need to do, especially against Lamica, who's such an important player for that side.
She's now down to a .226 hitting percentage, which is good for basically anybody, but it's 80 points below her season average, and it's a 700-point fall from where she was at the start of the day.
Bill, I mentioned in the pregame last week, Claire Sporer for Plymouth State came in as the top hitter on that team, one of the top 10 hitters in the conference. She ended up with 7 kills, but or 6 kills, maybe it was 6 or 7 kills, ended up with one more attack error and hit in the negatives. That's what the Beacons defense can do. It's not just their block, it's also a huge help coming from Kianko in the back, but also Chepievska and Shi are both good defensive players as well.
Chepievska's service, tough one. Matthew blocked, but out. How much does Kirsten Morrison, as an assistant coach, former great blocker for these Beacons, help with designing the blocks and making the in-game adjustments, her and Mike Houlihan? Because early on, nobody was stopping Rachel Lamica.
Well, I think that you're talking about a player who everybody has to listen to. She was a 3-time all-conference player. She made it to a couple of Elite Eights, a player you have to take seriously. Michael Houlihan's worked with so many great middles in a couple of All-Americans in Julia Murphy and Shannon Thompson. A lot of wealth of experience there. And the other thing is, you're looking at two coaching staffs who have been there for a while. You're not going to see anything too new that you don't know how to plan for.
19-16 Beacons after Gibbs' changeup dropped in. And now Gibbs' serve, a good one. Diving play by Lamica to keep it alive, but it's blasted out by Palmer. 20-16 Beacons. Looking to take this third set and go up 2-1. The senior Gibbs off the net. To the center. The swing for Dodds picked up. Shi! Too strong. Was not tipped on the way through. It's 20-17. She'll get another chance. She's blocked. And down it goes. That was the setter, Bailey Wilson, with a solo block, and there's the advantage of being a 6-foot-tall setter.
Yeah, and that's the thing for Keene State. It's going to hurt when Rachel Lamica graduates. She's obviously a dominant hitter, but if I'm a recruit looking at Keene State's success this year and looking at Bailey Wilson, I want to go to Keene State and hit with her. Obviously, there's a lot of good things coming to UMass Boston with the success this program's had, but Wilson is a difference maker as a setter.
Megan Palmer's ace had made it 20-19, but then the service error makes it 21-19. Beacons back up by 2. It was a 3-0 run for Keene State out of the timeout by Bob Weiner. Both coaches are like that their teams have responded well to the timeout so far.
And Bill, refresh my memory. I know Keene State has a timeout left, and the Beacons have one as well.
I believe so. I think it's one timeout apiece. That service from Elliott just plinkoed off Keene State returners and down. 3-point lead for the Beacons, and now Keene State will use that final timeout.
Another win at the net. Ariana Cassengol able to win that joust. Not quite sure who it was for Keene State. This is huge right now. Up by 3. Keene State uses their timeout. Michael Houlihan is preaching 2 things. Serve smart and take it point by point. If you side out back and forth the rest of the way, you're taking this set. The big thing is no runs, and I think that Houlihan will call a timeout. Keene State at any point is able to draw it within 1 point.
Beacons won the first set 25-19. Second set was a marathon. Keene State winning 29-27. Here in the third set, Beacons ahead 22-19. Winner here will be first place at 5-0 in the Little East Conference, with just 2 regular season conference matchups left, and we'll have the head-to-head tiebreaker, the likely upper hand for home court advantage all the way through the playoffs.
Remember, though, the Beacons had the lead in set 2. They had 3 set points, maybe 4 of them. So realistically, UMass Boston has the lead, but they have to close this out, something they weren't quite able to do in the second set when they had to fight their way back to take a very late lead.
They had set points at 25-24, 26-25, and 27-26 before Keene closed on a 3-0 run. Shi off the block, and it stays in.
I don't know if that caught the block or the top of the net, but either way, it landed on the Beacon side.
Well, Neve Dodge trying to claim the block, so
well, yeah,
we'll
you want to pad your stats no matter what, right?
22-20. Service from Matthew, flat-footed. Elliott in as a setter to Shi. That was a creative attempt from Dodd. Shi coming back and hammering it down, 23-20.
This was a really interesting decision. Elliott was put in to serve, and then they kept her out there. It's kind of, you wonder about it because Elliott hasn't served or hasn't set all day. How is she going to set? A couple of decent looks there, and now comments will come on to come off, and it's going to be Sydney Birch in there as an extra passer along the back line.
And Maslak will be the setter. 23-20 Beacons. Lamica off the block. Shi clean set. Bunker, a good dig. That's the setter Wilson over and down. Her first kill, but it wasn't on 2, it was on 3.
Yeah, the exact opposite of the roles we're used to seeing. Lamica forced to set the ball, and Wilson, not a lot on it, but enough to find the soft spot in the middle of the Beacons D.
Her 79th kill this season. What a good serve from Bunker. This is up for Lamica and blocked. Beacons have her read well now. The pass on 2 is wide for Wilson. Set point coming for the Beacons.
Bill, the entire Beacons bench was convinced that ball never got over. I was of the same mind. It's a good thing that that ball did land out of bounds because you were going to have a big fight coming from the Beacons coaching staff.
Set point for UMass Boston. Lamica flat-footed. Maslak back set. Shepievska, that's picked up. Here's Lamica again. To the outside, Gibbs. Oh, Bunker, a great dig. Lamica into the net, and the Beacons take set 3, 25-21.
You don't often see much of a visual reaction by Michael Houlihan. There was a clear fist bump. This means so much to these two programs, and that's a big set win for UMass Boston. To take that 2-1 lead, to be able to go into this 4th set with the pressure off of them. Obviously, they'd love to take it in 4 and avoid that treacherous 5th set, but big time spot for the Beacons. Once again, coming from behind to take the set. The Beacons have proven they can do that. Keene State's yet to come back from a deficit.
Beacons take the 3rd set, 25-21. We head to the 4th set next on LittleEast.tv.
I'm Elizabeth Clavin, sophomore business management major from Edina, Minnesota. I love being a part of this volleyball team. Volleyball is what brought me to UMass Boston. I looked at our recruiting website one last time and saw UMass Boston on it, came out for a visit the next week, and it kind of hit all the boxes that I was looking for. In a good city, good academic school, good volleyball program, it had everything I wanted. Although it was far away from home, I knew this is where I wanted to be. Winning 6 back-to-back LEC titles is really a dynasty, I think, and Terry has really focused hard on recruiting and building this dynasty and continuing to build a program that can continue to win championships, and it's really lucky to be a part of something this great. Last year I was the Little East Conference Defensive Player of the Year, All-Conference second team, NCAA Regional MVP of the regional tournament, ABC All-Region Honorable Mention, and New England Women's Volleyball Association All-Rookie Team and Honorable Mention. I think my favorite game would have to be playing in the regional championship last year. We played against a really good Williams team, and I think that match, we started off a little shaky and lost the first set. We've lost in the whole playoff season, and I think that kind of shook us a little bit. We came back firing, and we're ready to go those next couple games. Our coaches are bringing in a lot of really strong girls who want to make a commitment and make an impact in this program, and I think that is why we're continuing to do well and will continue to do well for the next few years. Being a student here has been really awesome as well. I've recently started taking more of my business classes and found that's a good choice and a good fit for me. And eventually I hope to open my own business and kind of be successful and do what I love at the end of the day.
Oh, it's picked up. Lamica tight in, and it didn't matter. Here's Shi powering it through. Eileen Shi's
out because you were going to have a big fight coming from the Beacons coaching staff.
Set point for UMass Boston. Lamica flat-footed. Maslak back set. Shepievska, that's picked up. Here's Lamica again. To the outside, Gibbs. Oh, Bunker, a great dig. Lamica into the net, and the Beacons take Third set, all about the defense for UMass Boston, holding Keene to a negative 188 hitting percentage. Rachel Lamica, who was off to the red-hot start, been the best player in the conference this year. Well, Beacons have finally caught up to her, and in that third set, they forced her to no kills and 5 errors on 13 swings.
That is an unbelievable statistic, and a lot of it has been the Beacons block. They've been getting to her even when she's hitting the ball into the net. A big part of that is she just doesn't have a good angle. UMass Boston pinning her down, and you look at it for Keene State. Olivia Matthews had an okay night. She's got 8 kills, hitting .222 for the night, but she had just 1 kill in that third set. So Keene State hitting negative 188 with just 4 kills in set 3. The Beacons, their lowest hitting percentage of the day at .029, but they still had 11 kills. UMass Boston with 38 kills versus 21 errors. Keene State with 30 kills on 20 errors.
You mentioned the block, and Sarah Doyle leading the way there. 4 block solos today for Doyle, up to 76 blocks this season. Underway in set 4. Beacons trying to close it out here, and that's a good start. Eileen Shi nets her 14th kill.
I'd love to see the sports science on how hard the ball is hit off the hands of Eileen Shi. I mean, some of the swings that she has, the ball just flies off, and it's a different sound off the hand than a lot of players.
And I shorted her one. That's officially her 15th kill, followed up by an ace for Alex Gibbs. It's 2-0 Beacons.
Yeah, this has been a really impressive match. UMass Boston shortened the rotation a little bit. We've seen a little bit of Elliott, a little bit of Birch off the bench, and then really just the starters. It's been a really impressive showing from UMass Boston.
Here's Lamica. She's stuffed once more. Kassengall got her that time. Lamica again. She. Maslak there to pick it up, but down it goes. Good block by Neve Dodd, combining with Bailey Wilson.
And Bill, that's at least 14 consecutive swings for Lamica without a kill. At some point, it has to creep into the back of your mind. When is it going to happen? So right now, I think the Beacons defense might have their eyes watering anytime they see Lamica swinging, knowing that she's in a little bit of a rut.
Oh, how about that? Amelia Shepievska had the radar locked in, used the scope, and found the corner.
She has that pinpoint precision we're used to seeing from Colleen Cohen, and she's filling that similar role as a secondary hitter behind Eileen Shi.
It's another service error for Eileen Shi. That's her 5th today, but she also has 4 aces, so you'll take that trade-off.
Yeah, and she's serving tough. That's the Beacons' big motto. Serve tough, put the pressure on the defense, and she's done a good job of that.
Wilson picked up by Gibbs. Now it comes to Gibbs. Wilson's there. Bunker up for Lamica, and she ends her drought. 14th kill for Rachel Lamica, her first since the second set, and she flashes a bit of a grin.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's been a while. It's been a full set. She does have 14 of them on the night. We're in for another very tight set if these first 6 points are going to point to anything.
She from the back. Her power too much for the Owls. 4-3 Beacons.
Yeah, Wilson couldn't do much with that. Trying to find Bunker up front. And another good swing from Eileen Shi, who's having one of her best statistical matches of the season.
16 kills, just 9 errors. She's hitting about 200. And there's an ace for Kiyanko. Michaela Kiyanko, the Beacon leader in aces coming in today, picks up her first ace of the day officially and her 29th of the year.
That's that softball drop ball. It just dove off the hands of the serve receiver. Didn't expect it to come down that fast.
Beacons have had their best success on those short serves today. To the center, Severino bangs it off the net. Gibbs stuffed. Overpass.
Maslak just saved that point for UMass Boston.
Shefievska hammers it into the net. Bob Weiner complaining that the Beacons were over the net anyway with Maslak, and it was a very close call.
Oh, 100%, but there were 2 Owls there ready to pound the over, and Maslak just able to tip it back across and keep the Beacons alive at least for 2 more touches.
Oh, how about that for Lamica? Hits the net. About as close as it could be to bouncing back, and it falls down on the line. We're at 5-all. Just how she drew it up.
Yeah, can't expect anything else.
Maslak for Doyle, punching it over. Oh, it's a pancake dig for Bunker. And now Lamica picked up by Shi. Doyle, Bunker's there once more. What a point. Gibbs puts it through Lamica. Alex Gibbs' kill spoils two tremendous digs for libero Riley Bunker.
That was easily the best defensive play best defensive point of the night. Yep. We even saw a really nice dig on the Beacon side of Lamica. These two teams really showing that they are the most all-around teams in the conference. Good hitting, good passing, and some pretty good defense as well.
Palmer throws one back down for her fourth kill. Well, Beacons and Keene State both 4-0 in the conference, ahead of 3-1 Eastern Connecticut State. Plymouth State at 2-2 entering the night. All the other squads in the conference have losing records.
And UMass Boston heads to Eastern on Friday in what will be a huge match either way that this one goes. The Beacons win today and win Friday. They'll be the #1 overall seed and host the entire way. If they win today and lose Friday, then there could be a three-way tie. And if they lose today and lose on Friday, then the Beacons would be outside the top two heading into the LEC tournament for the first time in a while.
Good ball by Shi. It's 7-all. Kill number 17 for Eileen Shi. Well, Keene State has already beaten Eastern Connecticut State, swept them earlier on this season. They'll close out their conference part of the schedule with Rhode Island College and Plymouth State. For the Beacons, it's East Con and Southern Maine. Southern Maine currently 1-3 in conference play. To the center, Dodd. Kianko picks it up. Now Shi finding the corner. 17 kills for Eileen Shi, her fourth already this set.
She is just having a tremendous all-around match. She's been really good offensively, and coming out of that third set, Eileen was credited with 9 digs, so well on her way to a double-double.
Good dig by Kianko. Matthew blocked. Picked up, though, by Bunker. Once more, they're ready for Wilson on the dump. Shi. Back to Palmer. Maslak picks out the line. Beacons by 2.
UMass Boston with a couple kills in a row where it's been more about finesse than the actual power. Finding that good spot with Riley Bunker covering a lot of ground, but not quite able to get there in time.
Now 9-7. Gibbs to serve. For the back set, Palmer. Looked like she might have shot-putted that one a bit. Beacon scramble and get it over. Matthew. Kianko's there. She's got it. Beacon defense clicking. They've rattled off 4 straight.
This is a danger zone right now for Keene State. Already down 3. We've seen Bob Weiner really resist using his timeouts too early in the sets. It's been Michael Houlihan who's been taking early timeouts, but down 4 right now.
Gotta do it here. It's a service error on the return for Keene. Off the serve from Gibbs, and Coach Bob Weiner will take timeout as the Beacons have rattled off 5 consecutive points.
And it's just been the defense. UMass Boston's defense has been keeping them in these points. Smart swinging. They've reduced the errors compared to the third set. UMass Boston's up to 183 for the match, so they've risen their hitting percentage by 16 points already, which is a little bit more difficult to do as you go along in the match.
And you said at the beginning of the day the key was going to be the Beacon defense. Well, they have Keene hitting just 104. Keene came in hitting at 235 on the season.
I think UMass Boston statistically looks worse than they are, both in terms of record and in every statistical category. I mean, printed off the conference stats, the team comparisons. The Beacons they're a team that's towards the bottom of the middle of the conference in most stats with the exception of blocks. The big thing about it is the Beacons go through the grinder every year in terms of going down. This year they went to Texas. They're going to upstate New York next week. That's not going to help them statistically. It's not going to help them with their record. It is going to help them prepare for conference play in the conference tournament. They say that every year, and sometimes you think, oh, those are hollow words. It's all about conference play. For this team, it really is, because the LEC is a one big conference, and you can go 30-5 or you can go 12-14 like the Beacons did 2 years ago. If you win the conference tournament title, you're in the NCAA tournament. Anything can happen from there.
Right. It may not help the overall record, but it certainly helps the conference record. On the overpass, that's too easy for Eileen Shi. Her 20th kill today and 7th of this set.
She is having a phenomenal match. and a player who just means so much to this team. UMass Boston saw a couple of All-Americans, All-Region players go, but the fact that they had Eileen Shi gave them hope going into this year. She's had a great match.
Now 12-8 after that one goes down for Megan Palmer. Megan Palmer's 5th kill today. 14 for Lamika, 8 for Matthew, and now the 4 for Palmer on that Keene side. Maslak pounds it down. That's her 8th kill. 2nd on the Beacons behind Shi's 20. Alex Gibbs also has 7 kills today.
Well, Bunker's cheating a little bit up the middle, and the Beacons have been going for that back corner closest to the Keene State bench. One of two things have to change. Either Keene State has to get a little bit better block on that far side, or Bunker's got to cheat towards the line, because the Beacons have 3 or 4 kills in that same spot here in set 4.
That's stuffed down. Neve Dodd, that was almost like an overpass with where that was coming. 13-9, Beacons by 4.
Keene's in desperate need of a little bit of a service run. 3 or 4 points to get closer, put the pressure on the Beacons a little bit.
Eileen Shi says no. 21st kill, overpowering the block. Beacons back up 5.
I'm sure she's in some pain right now, just based off of having this many swings. But boy, she is having a ton of success. Eileen only had 29 swings in comparison. Lamika had 35 through the first 3 sets.
Lamika's rejected. Beacons have totally dejected Lamika with their defense the last 2 sets. Block for Kassengall.
And this is why, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Rachel Lamika. I think with her stats, she deserves to be the player of the year in the conference, or at least be one of the top candidates. Jess Williamson from Southern Maine has put up comparable stats. But this is why, in my opinion, you have to consider Eileen Shi, because she puts up really good stats against really tough competition and doesn't get nearly the same amount of sets as some of the other top hitters.
Maslak saves that ball. Shi. Bunker's there. Now Lamika blocked again. Lamika through the block. Overpass stuffed. How about that? Kassengall the solo block.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 instances of the Beacons getting their hands on the ball. And Kassengall will pick up the solo block as the Beacons will go a bit deeper into the bench. First time we've seen freshman Jess Lay back there to serve.
How often do you see an overpass lead to a block? Wow. Ariana Kassengall with the Beacons' 9th block today. Lay's service picked up. Lamika goes finesse.
They always say that defense is contagious. I'm sure that blocking is a similar thing. When you see a couple of your teammates get their hands on the ball, you want to do the same thing. And that was why UMass Boston was so successful on that particular point. But also throughout this match, the Beacons have been getting their hands on a ton of balls at the net. They really have done a great job of minimizing the impact of Keene up front.
Gibbs got a piece of the block. Out for Lamika once more. Gibbs. Was it tipped? It was. Caught the block up front. 17-11. Beacons back up 6.
Should be one of the easiest call. The up official standing within a couple of inches of it. He took his time and eventually ruled that it was.
It goes in the books as the 8th kill today for Alex Gibbs. So she's an example of playing really well on your senior night.
I was about to say the same thing. She's done a good job of channeling it, as has Kianko.
Gibbs once more, and that goes down off of the Keene State block, so it stayed on the Keene side of the net, down through Severino. Beacons rolling up 7.
Severino couldn't quite get to the net, left a pretty big gap, and it easily fell in front of her.
Boy, if this keeps going like this, Beacon's going to put an exclamation point on this match in the 4th set. They're up 19-11 after the error from the Owls.
Keene State has wanted to win in Boston for so many years, and they've brought in some really strong squads, gotten off to really good starts. But for one reason or another, this has been a house of horrors for the Owls over the past couple, 6-7 years.
When does Bob Weiner take his other time out? Gibbs drops it down. It's 20-11, and you'd assume it's now or never.
Yeah, now might be a really good time. He's having a brief conversation with his staff, but
gonna let it roll here.
Yeah, just trying to see how they react. This isn't a team that's lost a lot this year.
19-3 on the season, though just 4-3 over their last 7. Lamika, that's a tight set, and she got it over. Putting her in a tough spot again. Beacon block gets a piece. Maslak to the back. Palmer. She picked it up. Now she definitely has a double-double. Lamica. And the Beacons were in the net. 20-12. That ends another 4-0 UMass Boston run.
Yeah, Doyle just got in a little bit too tight trying to block Lamica. It was a clean dig from Kianko.
20-12 UMass Boston. Maslak, Doyle, one of those double-jointed plays to get it over the net. And that's dropped in. Good shot by Matthew. Olivia Matthews' 9th kill. Just found a soft spot.
Talks about secondary hitting. Gibbs is being credited with double digits for UMass Boston. Matthew, the closest for Keene State. The Beacons, though, also have 8 from Rachel Maslak as well, so almost 3 players in double digits.
Lamica.
Gonna get a lift.
Yep, a lift on Rachel Maslak. In fact, referee signaling double contact on Maslak, so that's 3 in a row for Keene. You applaud the effort if you're Bob Weiger when things were looking pretty bleak. Bob Weiner didn't take the timeout at 20-11, and his teams responded.
No, that's why he's coaching the Owls, and we're standing up top.
One of a number of reasons, as Gibbs makes the block, and it's 21-14. Boy, Alex Gibbs having a heck of a day. That's her first block to go along with 10 kills and 6 digs. Eileen Shi, 21 kills, 12 digs. Sarah Doyle, 5 kills, 4 blocks, 3 digs. Point will go Keene's way here.
Yeah, this has been a complete match. We've seen really good contributions across the board. Carson Comments, the freshman coming in off the bench, she has 19 assists as the Beacon second setter. On the other side, Bailey Wilson has herself a double-double of 30 assists and 10 digs.
Sydney Morgan's service. Maslak in the middle. Morgan goes to a knee to make the save. Matthew, blocked! Down it goes! Maslak once more. That's Rachel Maslak's second block to complement 8 kills, 7 digs, and 23 assists.
Beacons now have 11 blocks, 10 of them coming over the past 3 sets.
So much for what looked like an offensive battle after the first set when both teams hit 275 or better. Matthew missed it wide, and it was not touched. 23-15. Beacons are 2 points away. There is that second timeout from Bob Weiner.
Just another example. Matthew got really close to the antenna there, thought she could push it down the line and avoid the block, sent it a bit too far. And at this point for UMass Boston, you want to close it out, and then immediately, this is the tough part, celebrate for a couple hours. Tomorrow you have to go in, have a good scout, a really good practice. If you can win Friday, this is the best week of your season, because even if you lose to Southern Maine, you have the tiebreakers.
Yeah, a quick turnaround to East Con on Friday. That's just 2 days from now, 7 p.m. Then Southern Maine is the 24th, so it's next Tuesday up in Gorham, Maine. Then with that oddity of the Little East Conference schedule where there's a week in between the end of the conference season, the conference tournament, Beacons will go to upstate New York, Skidmore College. They'll play in the Skidmore Invitational against Skidmore, SUNY Potsdam, and Union.
And Skidmore typically a good team in most sports. So that's another one where just like the Beacons went through a tough trial of matches over the weekend against non-conference teams, they'll do the same thing just before the conference season, something the Beacons do and most of the other schools are done non-conference, closing out the LEC regular season.
23-15, UMass Boston on top. Into the net goes Dodd. It is 24-15. Match point Beacons, and they have a bundle to work with here.
Dodd was complaining Doyle went over the net. Doyle didn't touch that ball. That ball never got over the white tape, and Beacons trying to close it out right here.
Match point for Alex Gibbs. Great serve. Palmer picked up. Joust at the net. And Keene State fights off the first with a side out. Megan Palmer wins the joust.
Yeah, Kianko a little aggressive there. Gibbs was in a better spot to make that pass, but Kianko, captain of the back line, player you expect to make the play, just couldn't quite angle it.
Kianko picks up this service. She for the match. Lamica scampers, and that's it. It's a fitting way to end it. UMass Boston on a kill from Eileen Shi, her 22nd of the night. Beacons win the Battle of Little East Unbeatens.
A very impressive showing. UMass Boston won 3 sets in 3 very different ways. The first set back and forth, we saw 10 different ties, 3 lead changes. Nearly took a second set that was very similar. Came back in the third set, earned a pretty convincing win. And then the fourth set, all UMass Boston, as they earned their biggest win of the season thus far to defeat an undefeated team, a team that was 19-3 coming in. This is a nice exclamation point as the Beacons finish their home regular season schedule.
25-19, 27-29, 25-21, and 25-16 for the Beacons. So it took 4 sets, but 3 pretty convincing set wins for UMass Boston to move at 5-0 in conference play. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to the head coach, Mike Houlihan, here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
We graduate 17,000 students every year, and the vast majority of them stay in Massachusetts. We have over 280,000 graduates in Massachusetts today. We graduate people in critical fields, engineering, STEM fields. We graduate people with research experience where they can start their own companies. It is amazing to see what UMass graduates accomplish once they leave the university. I remember vividly my own graduation from UMass. It was a beautiful day. It was perfect weather. I remember the pride that my mother and father felt. I could see it in their eyes. Here it is, 30 years later, I get an opportunity to preside over UMass commencement. It is so moving and inspiring for me to think this is what it's for. Here we are, we have these graduates that we're going to unleash on the world, ready to take on the world, happy about the accomplishment, but also hopeful about the future. It's hard not to get emotional at a UMass graduation. You see that UMass is here for the Commonwealth, here for a reason. I came from a working class family. I grew up in a hard-edged section of Lowell, Massachusetts, and I lived with my 6 siblings and my parents in a 4-bedroom house that had 1 bathroom. I knew that the only way that I was going to get to where I wanted to get to was if I got a high-quality college education, and I had the University of Massachusetts right in my hometown. It made a difference.
Back here on the Beacons Broadcast Network with Coach Mike Houlihan. Coach, congratulations on the win today. Battle of Conference Unbeatens. After you split the first couple sets, strong finish, including that final set. What did you think about your team's play today?
I thought it was great. I thought set 2, we let them side out better than we did. For the other 3 sets, we were above 60 and 270% side out rates. Those were huge. Our big keys of the game were to make sure that we outdid them, and we did. And then the big thing was, I believe going into set 3, 4 was hitting 13 kills, hitting 500, and we limited her to 16 kills, hitting, I think, under 100. So I think we keyed up on her, and we did what we had to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because Rachel Amica was on fire early, but only the 3 kills the rest of the way. What kind of changes did you make? How about your block led by Sarah Doyle?
No, we just kind of kept doing our thing. We were waiting for them to key up on her. They had to kind of figure out the timing and everything, and Amelia was given the test to take her out today, and she let her have some early success, but she took her out when it mattered, and that's huge, and her and Sarah really closed some blocks on her.
What did you think about Eileen Shi, especially in that final set, kind of carrying you guys with a quick start there?
Yeah, I mean, she's our go-to. She needs to be able to do that, and her serve was a little bit off tonight. She had that one great run that was able to bring us back in the set 2, but we got to make sure that she's doing that all the time, and she knows that. She's our go-to. She's expected to do that.
All right, Coach, thank you. Good luck against EastCon.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's go up to Seth.
Thank you very much, Bill. That was Michael Houlihan and Bill Spalding as UMass Boston takes it by a 3-1 score. Right now we'll take a look at the highlights from that 4th set before we bring you the final statistics right here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. They'd have their eyes watering anytime they see Lamika swinging, knowing that she's in a little bit of a rut.
Oh, how about that? Amelia Sheck. Gibbs puts it through Lamika. Maslak pounds it down, through the block, over pass stuffed. How about that? Cassin solo up top. One of a number of reasons as Gibbs makes the block, and it's
you expect to make the play, just couldn't quite angle it.
Kiyanko picks up this service. She for the match. Lamika scampers, and that's it. It's a fitting way to end it. UMass Boston on a kill from Eileen. At the Clark Athletic Center, Beacons winners in 4 sets over Keene State with Seth Orensky, Bill Spalding. Let's take a look at the final statistics. It was a great effort for UMass Boston, especially those last couple of sets pulling away. And as you look at those stats, you see the team leaders up on the board now. We'll go back to the overall stats. How about that second line? Keene State held to just 0.73 hitting. You heard Mike Houlihan talk about it. The defense really locked in the third and fourth set.
Yeah, and that's something where I wish we had been able to identify that better, and that falls on me. Amelia Chepievska was the player tasked with it. It's a little bit harder to see from up above, but a great job by her. The block was phenomenal today. Give a lot of credit to Michaela Kianko, who she didn't have maybe quite as many digs, I think, in total as Riley Bunker, but she came up with some really difficult ones. And you see the Beacons, they came up with more digs, they came up with more blocks, and more aces. So those are really good peripheral numbers for the Beacons, and anytime you can out-hit your opponent by more than 100 points, that's normally going to end up with a W next to your name in the win column.
Yeah, the 11 blocks to 7 key there with Sarah Doyle leading the charge. Beacons hit 206. That's better than the season average. In just a moment, we'll give you the overall team leaders. Beacons led by the play of Eileen Shi today, her 22 kills. So Eileen Shi had a great game, hitting close to 300. And on the flip side, yeah, Rachel Lamika got her 16 kills. Great player. But you'll take 16 kills on a 163 hitting percentage against a player like Lamika. That's containing her.
Yeah, and you look at it for UMass Boston, the 3 players that finished with the most kills for the Beacons hit 293, Eileen Shi, which is a phenomenal day. Then 214 from Alex Gibbs with 10 kills, and Rachel Maslak hit 174. So all 3 players finishing with a better hitting percentage than Rachel Lamika. And nice days there from Maslak and Kianko for the Beacons, and Wilson and Bunker for Keene State.
Sarah Doyle's 4 blocks helped lead the Beacons to 11 blocks overall as UMass Boston takes it in 4 sets. All right, we got some thank yous to hand out to this production crew. As always, Seth, a very hard-working production crew under the Maestro's leadership, under Seth Orensky's leadership here.
Thank you, Bill. Great work today from Alex Carasoto and Tom Nolan directing alongside Alyssa Fugel and Anthony Searles, doing a little bit of teaching today. Bill Spalding, our play-by-play guy. I was helping out with color commentary. Josh Ruffin on replay. Giovanna Bonilla, Maddie Byrne, and Taylor Bilyak with our camera operators, and Steve Witkowski. You're doing a great job on PA and a little bit of producing as well.
Yeah, running us the stats as well. Very valuable work from Whitco. Well, big win for UMass Boston. They're 1 win away from closing out the Little East Conference regular season and home field advantage if they can get a win on the road at Eastern Connecticut State on Friday. A 3-1 win over Keene State, knocking the Owls from the Little East unbeatens. For our entire crew, my partner Seth Orensky, Bill Spalding saying so long from Boston. We'll see you again in the postseason here on the volleyball court.